Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you two softwares that I always use and it's very important to me. These softwares help me to improve my drawing process, my painting process, and yeah, I'm really excited to show this software to you. Before we start, just a little disclaimer. I'm not affiliated with the software, with the company behind them, and they didn't sponsor this video, though I really hope they did, but no. So yeah, I'm going to show you, I'm going to walk you through on how to use the software and how you can use it on your own drawing or painting. So yeah, let's start. The first app on my list is called Design Doll by Terrawell Software. So basically this app allows you to manipulate a human 3D model in 3D space. And you can customize its body, you can change the lighting and the position of the shadow. You can also pose it to whatever pose you like. And you can simulate a camera with different perspective. I know it has a lot of features for a free software like this, but yeah, it's free. And in terms of customization, this app has a lot of controls. So you can customize the head, you can customize the chest, the body, the upper body, the lower body, the fingers, and the toes. So yeah, let's see how this works. So for example, you want to change the head or you want to customize the head. You can do it by going to the head library. And here you can see different kinds of heads. So you can combine all of this. You can use it to your head model. So for example, you want a more pronounced cheek or a bigger cheek on your character. So you just find a model here that has a bigger cheek, something like this one. You just increase this value, and as you can see, your character is now changing. And yeah, you can, like I said, you can combine the shape of your character by going through all of this model and adjusting the parameters. So aside from the head, you can also customize the chest. So if you want to have a more feminine body, you can add a chest to it. You can combine it with different attributes from other models here. And also you can customize the upper body or the abdomen. So if you want to have a more muscular abdomen, or you want to have your character to have an abs, you can just increase this. Yeah, that's basically how this works. And also aside from the head, the chest, and the abdomen, you can also customize the arms. So if you want to have a muscular arm, you can do it, or a thinner arm. And also the legs, you can customize it. And of course, you can customize the fingers. So you just adjust the controller by clicking and dragging. And yeah, it's very customizable. It's very intuitive. It's very easy to use. Aside from the fingers, you can also customize the feet. There you go. So if you're satisfied with your character, with the looks and the shape of your character, you can now pose it to whatever pose you like. So posing is very easy. You just click on your character and the controllers will show up, and you just adjust it to whatever pose you like. So yeah, it's really easy to adjust it. You just click and drag, and then twist it to have a different form and position. You can also toggle the gizmo, or this what they call this, an axis, rotation axis, something like that. So that's how you can customize or you can pose your character. So aside from customizing the body parts and the pose of your character, you can also add the camera. Here you can see the camera here and the perspective. So if you want to change the field of view of your character and its environment, you can just adjust the value here. And yeah, you can also adjust the distortion, how distorted your character will be and its surrounding. So I think this is very helpful if you want your character inside an environment. So there you go. You can also adjust the distance of the angle and the perspective. You can also use guides if you want. So these are some of the basic guides. So the iconic guide, the rule of thirds, the cross, the golden triangle, and the golden ratio. So if you want to have a good composition, you can use these guides for your characters. And also you can adjust the height of your character. So for example, you want your leg to be shorter, you can just adjust this controller and the other parts of the body. So yeah, it's really customizable. Or if you want to have a longer neck, you just adjust this on the head. And this next feature that I'm going to talk about is really, I think it's really helpful if you want to mimic reality. I mean, if you want to have a character that has the same proportion in real life. So you can use this box, you can use it as a guide, so you can have a visual representation of how large or how big your character is in real life. So you can add a box here, and this box has a measurement. You can use this box as a guide if your character is too big or too small for the environment. Yeah, this one is really helpful. I'm going to delete this first. And also, one of the best features here is the lighting. So you can adjust the lighting for the character and the shadow. So let's close this for now. And this sphere is the one who controls the light. So right now your character's light, the light on your character is now above the head. So you can adjust this light. So if you want the light source on your character to be at the back, you can move it on top. So you can see the shadow. It's in front right now. Or if you want the light source of the model in front, so you can adjust it below or left or to the right. You get the idea. And you can also change the material for the model. I think this is really helpful if you're trying to figure out how the light shapes your character, how the light affects the forms of the body and the anatomy. Yeah, it's really helpful for that. You can also customize the color of the shadow, the rim light, the specular, and the edge. So for example, you want your model to have for example, a blue shadow. Yeah, you can change it to whatever color you want. There you go. So yeah, when you're satisfied with your character, you can go to file and export it as flat image, so you can, you can use it as reference and you can trace over it if you want. But yeah, basically, you can use this for your character drawing. So just like me, I'm using this since I'm still learning how to create a character art, since most of my drawing is about environment, but slowly I'm adding characters into it just to tell a story. So yeah, this is really helpful for me to create a character. So the second software that I'm going to show you is called Color Constructor by Murray Lancashire. And this one is my favorite software or application when it comes to producing a more realistic color. So what this does is it helps you to visualize how a certain light affects the color of an object. And also it can generate a color palette for your, you can use it as reference when you're painting. This is a quick preview, and after this I'm going to show you how you can really use this in real painting situation. So here you have a sphere. You can change this into a cube by clicking the plus sign. For now I'm going to use the spheres, and you can change the color of the sphere by using the RGB slider just like in Photoshop, or the HSV, the hue saturation value, or you can pick a preset color here, or you can choose the color wheel by clicking the C icon here. And if you want to be more specific of the color, you can type the hex value here. So everything is the same here. You can, you get the idea. So the best feature here of the software is the light setup. So as we can see here, we have a light source here in the top left corner, and we have two different lighting here. So the first light that we have here on the top left is an artificial light. It could be a lamp, it could be spotlight, it could be candle, it could be your PC monitor, your cell phone. And this artificial light is controlled by this setting. So this is it, the light. So you can also change the color, and using this slider or the preset or the hex value or the color wheel, same thing as this controller for this object. I guess you already noticed, whenever you change the color of the light, it affects the color of the object. So for example, we have a light source that has white color. This is how the color of the object looks like now. This is the base color that we selected. But since the light source, the artificial light, hits on the surface of the object, it changes now. And yeah, you can choose whatever color of the artificial light that you wanted. Maybe you have a light source with a red color. You can choose that, and as you can see, the color of this area changes. And the second light source that we have here is the ambient lighting. So ambient lighting, it refers to the natural light that we have, specifically the sun. So yeah, you can also change the color of it. So for example, you want a sunset time of day, you can choose something like a purple, or maybe a red, or an orangey sunset color. Yeah, you can choose that, or maybe a nighttime, something like a dark blue. And as you can see, and as you can notice, this ambient lighting affects the shadow of the object. Whenever you change the color of this, it also affects the color of the shadow of the object. And you can add another light source. So basically, you have another a new light source here on the top right corner. So you can also change the color. As you can see, this illuminated part here changes the color as well, as you change the color here in the color wheel. for now we're going to use just two colors, but yeah, you can add another object if you want to, and also change the color to whatever color you want. And yeah, save it. You can save the light, the setting for the light, and also you can export the swatches, and you can reset the setting for this one. So if you reset, it will go to the default value. You can also increase the light intensity, how intense the light source is, the exposure. And one thing I like about this software is when you have an overexposed color, this warning will show up. So it means that you need to avoid that kind of color because it's not advisable to use it when you're painting. So maybe you can lower the exposure or the light intensity. So yeah, as you can see here, we have 3 warnings here. That means that it's too bright for that kind of color. So you need to avoid that. Yeah, there you go. So you can also increase the ambient light intensity. You can select a preset. So if you select a preset here, the lighting setting here will also change. Maybe you want a moonlight setup, so something like that, and or maybe a sunset, yeah, something like that. And you can also change the background color, this background of this sphere, whatever color you want. Yeah, how can we really use this? So I'm going to show you. Okay, so here I already prepared a simple drawing. I haven't really added a shadow here, a light setup. It's just a flat colors, and basically this is table, a wooden table, an aluminum can, and a purple paper bag. And the setting here, or the ambient lighting here, is set on an evening time, and I have another light source that is coming here on the right. So I'm thinking of something like a yellowish or something like a fluorescent bulb. So what we can do here is add this color on the color constructor software. I already created a setup before I record it, so I'm just going to load it. So yeah, as you can see here, but first I'm going to set the light as white and the ambient light as white, so you can clearly see the color. So as you can see here, this sphere has a purple color, same here as the paper bag. And for this sphere, I assigned the body of the aluminum can, and for this sphere I assigned the base color for the aluminum can, and this fourth sphere has the color for the wooden table. So as I said earlier, I'm visualizing my scene in a nighttime setting. So that is my ambient lighting. So I'm going to change the color for my ambient light more like a dark blue because it's nighttime. So maybe something like this one. Okay. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I have another light source, and I wanted the light to have a warm light color, something like a fluorescent bulb. So I'm going to set my light here with a yellow warm light color. Yeah, something like this. And right now, as you can see, the color here in the sphere already changes. So this is the base color that we added. But since we set the light something like a yellow, we can see the changes here. So how can we use this? I'm going to use this color palette as a reference on how I should color this paper bag and this aluminum can and this table. Okay, so I can export this color palette here, or took a screenshot and put it here in Photoshop. So yeah, I already did that, and this is the color palette from the Color Constructor app. For now, I'm going to hide this for now. And if I'm going to add a lighting setup here, this is initially what I came up with. So yeah, it's okay. But if you're going to analyze this, it doesn't feel realistic or it doesn't feel right. It looks like fake, but yeah, it does the job. But we can do a better job at this, right? This is how beginner digital artists do. They treat the shadow as a color black. They just lower the opacity, but basically they are using a black color. But like I said, different lighting situation or different color of the light affects the color of the object and affects the shadow, the color of the shadow of an object, just like what I showed you here. And if I'm going to follow this color palette and if I'm going to use this as my reference instead of using a black color for the lighting setup and for the shadow of this is what it looks like now. You know, it's more pleasing to the eyes. It's more, the color is more harmonious and it's more accurate and it's more believable compared to this, right? Because we follow we follow the lighting setup or the lighting color that is generated from this software. It's really good software. It generates an accurate representation of light. The technology that was used for this software is the same with the 3D software that we're familiar with, like Maya, Blender, Cinema 4D, 3ds Max. It's the same. So this is very accurate. If you want to produce an artwork with a more accurate color, I really recommend this software. This is a paid software. I'm not affiliated with this. This is not a sponsored, video. But again, like I said earlier, this is the best investment that you could get or you could have to strengthen your knowledge in color or to game up your skill when it comes to painting. So yeah, that's it. That's the two softwares that I always use, and I really hope that you're going to try those softwares as well because it's really powerful and it really helps me a lot, and I hope it will also help you with your painting, with your drawing process. So yeah, if you think this video helps you, please consider to subscribe, to like this video, and to share it to your friends. And yeah, see you in the next video. Take care.